Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Fireflex Yoga Gentle Mobility class. I'm Shannon McQuaid, and we'll get started in just a minute. The woman who owns the studio where I'm at, her neighbor has been broken in by a bear 2 times the last 2 nights, and so she was held up for a while, which had me running a little bit behind. So I'm just going to plug in my lapel mic and get set up, and we'll start in about 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, thanks for your patience. Plug this in. There we go. And plug this in. I'm not sure I need it. All right. Let's back this up a tiny bit so you can see me. Great. All right, well, here we go. I love the simplicity of yoga. I mean, technically, all you need is a mat. First, I want to say thanks to my friend Mike Mowat from Ontario, Canada, and the Whitby Fire Department. He sent me this amazing t-shirt. And I'm sure he sent me the smallest size that you have, Mike, and it's still a little big, so it'll probably come off. I have his shirt underneath sometime during class, but thank you. Mike and I did some workshops for his whole department, some Fireflex workshops a couple months ago, and went really well. And so I think we'll continue working together, which is wonderful. So good morning, and I'm Shannon McQuaid again, and this is a Gentle Mobility Flow class. And I was thinking about this class and how I wanted to start this morning. And I think, considering everything that's going on, let's start with the peace meditation. About 16 years ago, I finished a master's degree in spiritual psychology at a university in Southern California. And one of the things that I loved I love so much about this course, this actually 2-year degree, but before we started any of our class time together, and every time we returned from a break, we did a 5-minute peace meditation. And so that's what I'll do today. Let me just check. Okay. I'm going to grab my phone. So that's what we'll do today. So let me have my phone nearby so I can keep track of the time. And come into a comfortable seat, and I'll tell you a little bit more about this meditation. And if sitting doesn't work for your back, then go ahead and just lie down, maybe with your knees bent. And you'll find if you bend your knees, then it actually takes some of the pressure out of the low back. And then let's draw a deep breath in together, fill the lungs up with air, and hold at the top of the inhalation. And then slowly exhale all the breath out. Do that again, draw a deep breath in. Pause at the top of your inhalation, and then open your mouth, slowly exhale all the breath out. And last time, take a deep breath in. Hold. And exhale. And then gently close your lips, releasing in the jaw, and start to deepen your breath. Maybe take 4 seconds or so on the inhalation, and then try to exhale for just maybe 1 to 2 seconds longer. When we focus on exhalation, we activate the body's rest and digest response. Now, bring to mind someone that's very easy to love in your life, and a pet works really well for this exercise also. And hold an image of that pet or that person that when you think about them, you just feel love, joy. Just so glad that this person or a pet is in your life. And staying connected to your breath, bring your awareness now anywhere below the chin into your body and notice where you feel that sense of love or gratitude or joy when you think about this person and this pet or this pet. So every emotion can be felt as physical sensation in the body. So that's what we're doing. We're calling to mind someone we love, and we're just locating in the body where you feel that sense of love. And it could be in the physical heart, or it could be someplace else. And now what I want you to do is just begin with yourself. Really offer this same sense of compassion or love or wholeness or goodness, whatever it is you're feeling, send that to yourself. And then for the next 3 minutes, you can just increase the number of people, places, situation that you begin to include in the sense of feeling love or compassion for. Now, when I do this practice, I like to think about holding, first myself, and then my husband and children. And then I just kind of go out into ever widening circles, and I like to hold them in light. But whatever works for you, and it's really not a scripted practice. And if doing this peace meditation isn't working for you for whatever reason, then just come back to feeling your breath in your body. And I'll just hold the space for us to do this for about 3 minutes, and then we'll move on to some more active practice. So getting comfortable wherever you're at, and let's begin. And just notice where your attention is and see if you can bring it back to the sensation of feeling goodness and wholeness in your body, and sending that outward to any person, place, or situation on the planet. And then for the last 3 breaths here, again, we're just sending feelings of peace, goodness, wholeness, love to persons, place, and situations on the planet that can benefit from this practice. Practice, and if you decided to lie down for the peace meditation, then go ahead and sit up. You're welcome. If you're already sitting, you're welcome to keep your eyes closed. And if you're joining us sitting, then you can keep your eyes open or closed, your choice. Let's just reach the fingertips towards the mat and then rotate the thumbs behind you. On an inhalation, sweep the arms overhead, interlace the fingers, press the palms up, really root down through your pelvis and then lengthen through the side body. Wonderful. And then reach your hands all the way down. And let your hands rest on your thighs or on your lap in a way that works for your shoulders. Now we'll begin by taking our right ear to our right shoulder. Good. And you could just stretch through the left arm, fingertips reaching towards the floor or maybe touching on the floor. And inhale coming up. And then other side, left ear to left shoulder, extending through the right arm as an option. And then on an inhalation, lift the head up. Good. On your next exhalation, let's take the chin to the chest, stretching through the back of the neck, keeping the shoulders rolling back. And then on an inhale, let's go ahead and look up towards the ceiling and then jut your lower jaw past your upper jaw, like an underbite, and really stretch through the front of the throat, through all the muscles there in the neck and in the jaw. Great, and then come back to center. Again, inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Press the palms up as you root down through the pelvis, maybe looking up, and then exhale, float the hands down. Come over onto your hands and knees, coming into tabletop pose, and we'll begin the flow part. So flow, vinyasa flow, is really defined as linking breath to movement. And I call this a gentle mobility flow. So we're going to just take our time to go through these different postures. And then over time, we'll begin to do a posture each breath. All right, so first let's start in tabletop pose. Your feet can be flat or your toes can be tucked. Setting the knees underneath the hips and setting the wrists underneath the shoulders. On an inhalation, you want to slide your sternum forward and the shoulders back, drop the belly, and let the tailbone lift up. And then on an exhalation, start to tuck the tailbone, rounding the spine, pressing through the palms and pressing through the feet. You can take your gaze in between your knees. Let's do that again. So inhale, coming into a sway back cow pose. Good. And then exhale, pressing and rounding into a pose that looks like a cat stretching. And a few more times, just taking our spine through extension on an inhalation and then flexion on an exhalation. And you can think of this as a mini flow because you're doing a posture of breath. You're inhaling, coming into cow pose, and then you're exhaling, coming into cat pose. Now, keeping your spine rounded and tucking your toes, if they're not already tucked, take your hips towards your heels and crawl your fingertips out in front of you, keeping your hands shoulder width apart. On an inhalation, lift up into tabletop and then keep going, taking your shoulders forward of your wrist. Start to bend the elbows towards the hips and let your belly, your chest, and your forehead come all the way down to the mat. And then sliding your thumbs down towards the middle of your rib cage, hugging your shoulder blades onto your back, tuck the toes, and inhale, press onto hands and knees, and exhale, take your hips towards your heels. All right, so we'll do this one more time, kind of go in slow motion, and then we'll turn it into a flow. So you're on an inhalation, you rise up into tabletop pose, you take your shoulders forward of the wrists, and then you exhale and slowly bend your elbows, letting your whole torso come towards the mat. We'll tuck the toes and then slide the thumbs down towards the bottom of the rib cage, press onto hands and knees, and hips to heels. Good. Let's do that again. So inhale, coming up. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, pressing up. Exhale, hips to heels. Again, inhale, rising up. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, pressing up. Exhale, stretch it back. 2 more times. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, press back up into tabletop. Exhale, take your hips towards your heels. Last time, waking the body up. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, press up. And exhale, hips to heels. Good, let's just come back up into tabletop pose. On an inhalation, lifting the chest and the tailbone into cow. On an exhalation, rounding the spine into cat. Keeping our spine rounded and taking our hips back towards our heels. And then walking both hands over to the left. So stretching through the whole right side of the body. Inhale, walking your hands to center, and then both hands over to the right. Good. Inhale, bringing your hands to center, and then coming back into tabletop pose and tenting the palms so you have some space to step your right foot forward. And then we'll release onto the back of the left foot. And I want to really target the Achilles tendon in the back of the right heel. So normally, especially if we were going to press up, we'd want to stack the knee right over the heel. But for this next posture, try sliding your foot back a little bit and then lunging forward and see if you can't get into the back of the right ankle and heel. All the time kind of balancing effort and ease. So you want to make sure that whatever you're doing now, you're not stressing out your right knee, and that the pressure that you're feeling, the stretch that you're feeling is really happening in the foot. And adjust each of these postures that I offered today so that it works for your body. Great, and then let's take our weight out of the right leg so that we can crawl those toes forward. Now find that angle, right, where the right knee is over the heel, and start to take your hips back, really pressing through the toes. So you can slide your hands back a little bit if you need. You're starting to straighten that right leg. Stretching to the top of the right foot now. And then go ahead and flex the right toes towards the shin. Yeah, maybe getting into the back of the leg. I did a bar class yesterday here at this studio. It's called, the studio now has a new name, Core Pilates. Tahoe Core Pilates. And so I can't even straighten my right leg because we work so hard into the glutes and the hamstrings. Nice. And then come forward, back onto those fingertips and back into tabletop pose. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, cat. Find a neutral pelvis, neutral spine, and tent your palms. Step the left foot forward. Same thing, slide that left foot back towards the right knee, and then come into that lunge, opening up to the whole back of the ankle. Now take the weight out of the left knee and leg so you can crawl those toes forward safely. And then start to straighten the left leg. First, anchor down through the ball of the foot and the toes so we can get to the top of the foot. Slide the hands back if you need to. Keep the chest long so you're not rounding here in the spine. Maybe look towards the top of your mat. And then start to peel those left toes up off the mat, coming into what is often called a runner's lunge. And then come forward into a low lunge. Yep. Take your knees back behind you. Open up the knees wide apart. Bring the big toes together and slowly lower back into a child's pose. We'll take a moment to just find our breath again. You can make a pillow for your forehead. And as you're resting in child's pose, I'm going to go ahead and get ready for some inversions. So in child's pose, when you're folded in this when you're in a forward fold position and the front of your body is kind of constricted, when you take a deep breath in, you really can start to feel it in the back body and in the side body. So take some deep breaths in here. Connect with your breath. Feel the back of the ribs expanding as you breathe. Good, and then on an inhalation, let's press ourselves up a little bit. Yep, coming back into a tabletop pose with the toes tucked and the arms extending out in front of you. And now we're gonna add on to our flow. So we'll inhale, rise up, hands and knees. Exhale, lower down with the elbows pointing towards the hips. Extend the legs behind you. Press into the tops of the feet. And you really want to press into the tops of the feet so both legs are active and the knees are lifting up off the mat. From here, we'll lift the chest into something that's called locust pose, and the fronts of the shoulders are moving away from the mat. And then exhale, lower the forehead down, tuck the toes, and like we did before, press onto hands and knees, hips to heels. Spread the fingers nice and wide, and then let's press into downward facing dog. Open up your feet pretty wide apart and start to pedal the feet. Bicycle the legs. Pressing into one hip and then the other. You can let the head be heavy. You can even take your chin from one shoulder to the other. Nice. Down, or you can lower all the way down. Activate the lower body. Inhale, you'll lift the chest up. And then exhale, lower down and tuck the toes. Again, you can press onto hands and knees or straight into a plank pose and right back into downward facing dog. Take a deep breath into the nose. Open the mouth and exhale. Press into the feet. Inhale, roll forward, plank pose. Exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. Inhale, lift the chest, draw the fronts of the shoulders back. Exhale, lower the chest down, lower the forehead down, and tuck the toes. Inhale, press back up into a plank pose. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take a nice deep breath in. Open the mouth and let it go. Good, let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, roll forward in plank pose. Option to let the knees come down and then lower the torso to the mat. Inhale, locust pose, drawing the chest, the shoulders, the forehead up off the mat. Exhale, lowering all the way down and tucking the toes. Inhale, option to press onto hands and knees. And then lift up back into downward facing dog. Okay, so you have a couple different versions we can do as we go through the last cycle, and make sure whatever you choose really sets you up for feeling good for the rest of the day and coming back to the mat tomorrow. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, lower down. Inhale into your low back bend. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, press up, plank pose. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Deep breath into the nose. Full breath out of the mouth. Open up the feet a little wider than hips width apart. Bend the knees and walk your hands back towards your feet. So you're going to end up standing on your feet, weight in the toes and in the heels, and both elbows are going to rest just above the knees. Good. Bend the knees and then straighten the legs a little bit. Bend the knees and straighten the legs. Now, what I want you to see is that my pelvis is moving in the same direction as my spine. And I've been practicing yoga for a long time. So for me, I can straighten my legs and you can see that my back can stay straight. But what I often see when I work with firefighters who have tight hips is that when they go to straighten the legs, this happens, right? So the rounding now is coming into the spine and it's not happening from the pelvis. So pick a position here in your forward fold. Look in between your legs so that your neck can release. Let's take a few deep breaths here. Your fingertips can be on the ground or on a block. Your fingertips can be on the shins. You can clasp opposite elbows. But you want to make sure that the pelvis is moving in the same direction as the spine and that your spine is not rounding. Good, and then to come out of this pose, bend the knees a lot. Place your hands on your thighs or elbows on knees, and let's come all the way up to standing. Good, and I'll need to adjust my, so you can see that there. Wonderful. All right, we're gonna do a few standing poses and standing balance and poses. So the nice thing about yoga, if you're taking your shoes and socks off, is you can really begin to strengthen your feet, but also keep them very soft. We want soft and strong feet, and we really want the arches in our feet to help distribute force. So standing with your feet about hip width apart, arms can be wherever it's comfortable for your shoulders. Lift up all 10 toes. And when you lift up the toes, but press down through the balls of your feet, you will feel your arches lift. And you might even feel activation all the way up into the pelvic floor. Now this will be tricky. With all 10 toes lifted, just try to lower down the pinky toes. Yeah, it's kind of brains trying to figure this out. And then the next toe, right? Keeping the big toes up. And then, this is something I'm still practicing. And then the third toe, and then the fourth toe, and then the big toe. With all of your toes pressing into the floor, you still don't want your feet flat. So keep lifting up through the arches. And now let's press into the balls of the feet. This is an activity you can do to strengthen your feet. And then lower the heels down. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, lower down. Okay, on your own, rock you back and forth a few times. And lower you down. So balancing, we're balancing here. Picking a place to focus your gaze will really help with your balance, and try not to hold your breath. A couple more times, lifting up and lowering down. Lifting up and lowering down. I was once told by my yoga teacher that if you want to build arches, if you want to strengthen your arches in your feet, just walk around your house on the balls of your feet. Good. And then let's go ahead and press down now through our feet, front to back, side to side. Activate the legs, reach the fingertips towards the floor, and rotate the thumbs behind you. So you feel the fronts of the shoulders drawing back. And then continue to press down through your feet and reach up to the crown of your head. Now, we don't stand like this out in the world, but I want you to keep the shoulders drawing back in that healthy rotation, but just release the forearms because they have their own rotation. And you'll notice when you really stand tall and strong, it takes work. It takes awareness. This is a yoga posture that you can practice every time you're standing. Just notice how you're standing, where the weight is being distributed across the feet. Are the ankles rolling in and the arches collapsing? Is your chest collapsing, the shoulders rolling in? Great. So in this very strong and balanced posture, let's open up our feet wide apart. Yep. And then we'll open up our arms wide apart. Start to take the one thumb down. So we'll take the left thumb down and the right thumb rotated behind you. So we've got the left shoulder internally rotating and the right shoulder externally rotating. Now switch. And switch. And switch. And switch. And switch. Good. Opening up in the shoulders and the upper back. Yep. Stretching the internal rotators. Good. And then take your hands to your hips. Pick up your left toes and turn them to the left. Pick up your right toes and turn them to the left a little bit. And then start to bend into your left knee, coming into warrior two pose. Finding that stance where your left knee is happy, but you feel your body working. Your right leg is like your kickstand. So you really want the right leg to be strong, pressing to the back heel. Now, lift the arms up. Gaze for a few breaths over your left fingertips. Feel your lower body very stable and strong, pressing into both feet. Then take your right hand behind your back and your fingertips up your spine. Take your left hand behind your back into archer pose here, or archer arms, and just really opening up the shoulders here. Don't worry about the fingertips coming together. Start to draw the front ribs back and the tailbone down. Good. And try not to let your head come forward. Take your gaze. Find a place that eye level to focus on. Let's just take 3 deep breaths here. And then on an exhalation, release the arms to that internal, external rotation a couple times. Straighten the left leg and bring your hands to your hips. Now turn both toes towards the long edge of the mat. Keeping your hands on your hips, press through the feet and lengthen through the top of your head. Soften the knees and begin to forward fold. And stop where you start to lose that integrity in your spine. Now, if your hamstrings can continue to release, as well as the posterior chain, you can continue to forward fold and look in between your legs. To come out of this pose, bend your knees a lot so that your back is flat. On an inhalation, leading with the chest. Come all the way up to standing and pause. And then heel toe your feet a little wider apart. We'll pick up the right toes, turn them to the right. We'll pick up the left toes and also turn them to the right. We'll open up the arms. This time we'll take the left thumb down and the right thumb behind you, and a couple times. Just lubricating the shoulder joints. Great. Flatten the palms, reach the fingertips away as if the stretch was coming from the center of your spine. And then bend your right knee. Warrior two pose, gazing over your right fingertips for 3 breaths. Find your breath. On your next exhalation, your left hand comes behind your back and the fingertips go up your spine. So I'll show you what I'm doing. Yeah. And then your right hand comes up and over. Maybe your fingertips touch, maybe they don't. Try to avoid this. Try to avoid this, okay? Really draw the front ribs back. Tailbone is long. Pick some place to gauge, to focus your eyes that are eye level. And feel your lower body working. Take a deep breath in. And then exhaling, release the arms. Hands can come on your hips. Straighten your right leg. And let's forward fold again. So we'll heel toe our feet a little closer together. Both toes are facing the long edge of the mat. Now the option here is to keep your hands on the hips, or if you'd like, you can take your hands behind your back, or maybe grab a hold of a strap or a t-shirt. I happen to have a t-shirt right here. So let me take my fabulous Would Be Fire t-shirt and use it like a strap. Great. So your fingers are either interlaced, they're on your hips, or you're holding a t-shirt or a strap. Inhale, look up, lengthen the spine. Exhale, forward folding, the knees can soften. Yep. Taking the arms overhead is one option. Bringing the weight in towards the toes. Let the head be heavy. You can turn your chin from one shoulder to the other. Good. Take a deep breath in. Stay here to exhale. If you interlaced your fingers or you're holding a t-shirt, before you come up, bring your knuckles towards your sacrum. Bend your knees with a flat back, and on an inhalation, come all the way up to standing. And pause. And then heel toe your feet together and walk to the top of your mat. Find that stable and solid standing pose. Start by rotating your thumbs behind you so you can feel that healthy rotation in the shoulders. And then inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, press your palms to your chest. And then bring your hands to your hips and forward fold. Hands come to the mat and step it back into a plank pose. Wiggle the feet back so that the shoulders are over the wrists. The heels are over the toes. The chest is drawing forward and the heels are reaching back. Pull your front ribs away from your mat. Take a deep breath in. And then we'll slowly lower down. Option to drop the knees. Elbows point towards the hips. Lower all the way down to the mat. And then from here, let's just pop up onto our forearms for Sphinx pose. So the shoulders can be above the elbows. The hands are shoulder width apart. Imagine that you're sliding the hands back towards the hips as the sternum reaches forward. Now, I've been practicing for a long time. I have a lot of bend in my spine. If this is the first few times you're doing this posture, then what I'd like you to do is draw your elbows a lot further forward so that more of your rib cage can rest on the mat and you have less bend in your back. Take your gaze in between your hands. Keep drawing the shoulders back, releasing the neck. Slide the hands back down towards the middle of your rib cage and tuck the toes. Inhale, press up into plank pose. and exhale into downward facing dog. Let's go through our flow one more time, and then we'll begin to move towards integration. Take a deep breath into the nose. Let it out through the mouth. Inhale, roll forward, plank pose. Exhale, lower all the way down. Option to drop the knees. Inhale, really activate the lower body as you draw the chest forward and up and the fronts of the shoulders draw back. Exhale, lower the forehead down and tuck the toes. Inhale, press onto hands and knees and up and back, downward dog. Take a deep breath into the nose. Full breath out through the mouth. Let the knees come down. Option to open up the knees wide apart and resting back into child's pose. And as you draw back into your child's pose, bring your awareness anywhere below your neck into your body. Just feeling the effects of the practice so far. Feeling the whole back body expand on an inhalation, relax on an exhalation. And then from child's pose, use your hands to lift your chest. Get out to one side so that you can come all the way over onto your back. Keeping your knees bent. And actually bring the soles of the feet together and go knees wide apart. I just got distracted realizing that the colors that I'm wearing today are like Ronald McDonald colors. Red and orange, orange and yellow. I mean, orange and yellow, red and yellow. One hand is on your abdomen and one hand is on your chest. As you draw your next breath in, breathe as if you can breathe all the way down into that lower hand, and then continue to draw your breath all the way up into the upper hand. And as you exhale, let your hands just lower down. So inhaling, breathe into the lower hand, continue to inhale all the way up into the upper hand, and then take your time and slowly exhale all the breath out. Practice that a few more times. And slowly exhale all the breath out. Release your hands, open them up to the side, and then just go ahead and take your right knee and stack it on top of your left. Lower body twist, and then inhale, open up your right leg to the right, and then take your left knee and stack it on top of your right. Good, and then let's just go back and forth a few times. It's a different type of a windshield wiper pose where we start with our feet and our legs in a diamond shape, side to side. Good, and then bring your feet about hip width apart and your knees are bent. Draw your right knee into your chest and draw your left knee into your chest. Massage through your back, rocking a little bit from side to side. Good, take your hands to the tops of your knees, open up your knees wide apart, and then draw them together. Yep, lubricating the hips, stretching through the groin and the inner legs. Great, draw your knees together. And then hold on behind your thighs and take your legs up. And now point the toes and flex the feet. Point your toes and flex your feet. Yep, stretching to the tops of the foot. Yeah, a few more times. Good. Point and then release. Take both feet over to the left, making circles with your toes. Yep, moving in a clockwise direction with both feet. And then in the opposite direction. Release your hands from your thighs, take them into your inner legs and open up your legs wide apart and same thing, flex and point. Flex and point. And circle. And circle. Nice. And then take your hands, draw your legs back up, bend your knees, and let's release. Let's extend the legs, open them wide apart. Take the arms away from your body, turn the palms up. I like to lift up my upper back, draw my shoulder blades together and the base of my neck. You can turn your head from one shoulder to the other. And then let's all draw a deep breath in. Fill the lungs up with air. Open the mouth and exhale all the breath out. And as you take another slow, complete exhalation, just feel your body relaxing onto the mat. Bring attention into your right foot and the sole of the right foot and the toes. On an exhalation, releasing in all the muscles in the right foot. And then bring your attention into the left foot. Take a deep breath in. And allow the sole of the left foot, the top of the left foot, and the toes to just release. Another deep breath in. And as you exhale, you're just releasing tension in both legs, lower legs, knees, thighs, and into the hips. And take another deep breath in. And as you exhale, feel the hips release deep into the socket. Feel the back of the pelvis pressing into the floor. Feel your lower back, mid back, and upper back just softening and relaxing into the support beneath you. And as you exhale, let your abdomen release. Let the muscles in the rib cage soften. The muscles across the chest and the fronts of the shoulders just begin to drop down towards the floor. And you just allow your body to continue to relax, both arms, softening across the palms and the fingertips. And into the throat, the sides of the neck, the back of the neck, the jaw, the muscles in the face, temples and forehead. And feeling the back of your head being supported by the floor, and just let your whole body relax and be supported. back to feeling your breath in your body. Feel the breath deepen and staying connected to your breath. Gently roll onto one side, coming into a fetal position. And then all the way to sitting comfortably tall. And from this place of being more grounded and centered now, having practiced for the last 50 minutes or so, just looking out into your day today, maybe setting an intention for what you want to do today, what you want to receive today, how you want to show up in your life. That's something that yoga really supports us. How do we want to show up when we're interacting with people, not only who we love, but who challenge us? How do we want to show up in the face of uncertainty and ambiguity, the unpredictability that characterizes a life of a firefighter and a first responder? And yoga can really help with that. See you next Sunday, 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Feel free to email me in between. Thank you so much. Namaste.